Welcome to Office Hours. We have a very special guest here today, Mr. Daniel Detage.
Why did I not think about that
Yeah.
coming up this time?
That's all we call you, is
Yeah,
Daniel.
it's all because of you.
Yep.
It's literally all because of you.
It originated with me typing on my phone,
Yep.
trying to say Dano,
Yep.
and I put Danyo instead.
Because she types a lot of words with the Enya on it
Yep,
for some reason.
apparently. And now everyone calls him Danyo.
It's just
in
kind of the thing
office.
that's happened. Yeah, Oliver calls it. He's the guy I talk to the most,
Mm-hmm.
and he says it pretty much all the time.
Yep.
So that's been pretty great.
It's
Yeah,
nice to know
appreciate
that
it.
I've influenced the office.
It's a true influencer.
And I'm Pims, if you don't know me. Hello. And we're
Hi,
here.
we've never met before.
No, never. It's not like I've known you for like 3 years.
It's been a long time.
But yeah, today we're here talking about communities, something that is near and dear to both of our hearts. And
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, communities. Communities are fun. They can
They're
be
okay.
they can be just a bunch of trolls though. Communities are the reason that I pull my hair out all the time sometimes.
That's fair.
But then again, you think about the fact that you don't exist without them for the most
No,
part.
yeah. I mean,
It's all out of love. I'm kidding.
they're pretty integral to Twitch, and
I like the way you say integral. Integral.
integral. Is that not
Integral.
right?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I just like the way you say it. It's funny.
Integral. They're integral.
Well, they are.
Yeah.
They are. They're very important for a lot of reasons. They're the whole reason that we get to do whatever we want to do.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just, they're like, what are you streaming for if not for your community? And a lot of people can respond with, well, I stream for my fans and I stream for the people that watch, whether or not I know it, which is how. It's old school, right?
Yeah.
It's old school. You make a television show and you don't know who's going to watch it, but you see the numbers come in and that's really all it is. But then we define community as the people we get to actually interact with and talk to. And
I mean, I think that's kind of, that's the whole point of Twitch.
Yeah.
You know, that's what's attractive about Twitch versus YouTube or TV, is that you have a community and you're not only interacting with the broadcaster, but you're interacting with other people.
well, what are the main thing? So you think about like the different platforms out there, and every platform, every streaming platform at least, or even video platform for like gaming or whatever it might be, has a chat now.
Yeah.
And that pretty much started with Justin TV and being able to interact with wherever that came from. And it's crazy how the bigger dog, YouTube, took a lot of that. That plus instead of banking totally on ad revenue, they said, hey, we now see the power behind a community, so we're going to add a join button or a sub button. Mixer has the same thing. Mixer is done, I mean, intelligently. They've done everything that Twitch has done, and then they're even adding more to it. So it's every platform, they have all banked on the aspect of community, and it's just power right there.
I also think it's kind of where the future's heading. It's kind of hard to have any sort of media that's sustainable without a community behind it.
Well, it's easy to forget a program or a platform or anything if you don't like actually take advantage of what the community has to offer. Because I mean, you look at it. I was like, speaking of, we were just talking about this. I watched the Warframe stream today, and that whole entire stream is just one big community.
Yeah.
There's I never watched a single game's stream have a chat so active. Like, it's Warframe, it's a free-to-play game, obviously, so that means they get a lot of people that play their game. It's not, you don't have to pay anything to get into it, which is huge. But that's, one way to gain a community pretty quickly. And, I mean, that's how most of Twitch is. It's all free. But the bigger point is that they have thought so much about their community and they've interacted so much with them that the people who have ever played Warframe for more than like 5 to 10 hours probably never forget about the game, even if they don't play it anymore. Because they've really they've at least said, hey, we're going to pay attention to you guys.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Yeah, it is. I think it's something that it's weird, the shift that's happened even like 10, 15 years ago, where there was definitely that aspect, but it was not to the extent that it is now. A lot of games nowadays have huge communities behind them, even if it's a single player game.
I mean, back what? So we're talking about 5-10 years ago, just Xbox in general.
Yeah.
It was one of the most famous communities in gaming ever because it was always said to be toxic or whatever, but it was still at least people talking about community.
Yep.
It was a known community, even if people didn't like it. And it's like, well, yeah, maybe toxic in some points, but I also play with my friends and we're able to chat with each other. Xbox Live was the pinnacle of bringing gaming communities together before Justin TV, before Twitch, before YouTube, and all that stuff started focusing on gaming pretty hard. It was Xbox Live.
Yep.
I mean, obviously there were servers and forums that people went on before that on PC, but Xbox Live was the big push into, it wasn't even like probably on purpose, but it was Microsoft really caring about giving people tools to be able to interact with each other.
Yeah.
And, find games together and stuff like that. And that was just, it was just a huge boon to creating communities.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think naturally.
It's really evolved since then, and it's cool to see.
It's crazy. I mean, we talk about this as streamers all the time. We're not anybody without our community, and there's a lot of streamers out there who are very huge who really they can't interact with their community, right?
Yeah, and that kind of is a whole other question. Is their communities are how does that community function when it's someone who has 50,000 viewers compared to a community that's you're streaming to 50 people? How there's a huge difference between the level of interaction.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference, but I think it's important to note that even if the person never talks to their chat ever, they still have a difference and advantage from what we were talking about with general television.
Yeah.
Is they get to see the people interacting live with it.
Yep.
Whereas actors who do TV or even with live audiences, the live audience is just laughing at their jokes. They know when something's good, obviously, but again, they probably didn't write it, so it's not like it cares that much. It's not that big of a deal to them unless you're Seinfeld. But even so, they're still reading it, or at least they're seeing some comments here and there, and they might even adjust their content based on that. They may not respond directly to somebody, but they'll adjust like, hey, this does really well. These people like this. They're asking for this. I'm going to go do that.
True.
And that changes the show and the content right there. So that's a huge change, and that is the community talking to them.
And from the perspective of a viewer, you are still engaging in a community, even if you're not talking directly to the broadcaster.
Yeah.
You're talking to moderators, you're talking to other people in chat, and you're forming at least, if not full-blown relationships with other people, you're forming interactions with other people, and it's still a community even if the broadcaster isn't directly talking to them.
Yeah, one thing that I think a lot of people will start to assume or start thinking in their head when they watch an episode or the show like what we're doing right now is they'll think of a definition of how they see community. And I think it's important to note that there's no single definition.
No.
There's not even like a dozen definitions.
No.
There is tons and tons and tons of what it actually means to be a community.
At the broadest level, it's really just a group of people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I was thinking about this when you guys asked me to come on. I was like, okay, let's get down to so what I do is I go to the very, very basis of what it is we're going to talk about. And I was like, okay, what's the definition of community? Legitimately, it's just a group of people.
Yeah.
I think the only requirement is that there is more than one person. It's a human being that has the ability to interact. And you can have, people talk about communities of animals and stuff like that, but it's a little bit different. I would call them congregations, but it is literally more than one person that can interact with each other. That's it. That's the basis.
Yeah.
After that, I mean, the sky's the limit, really.
Yeah, I mean, a community could be you have a group of people that you play D&D with, and that's a community.
Yeah, and those people are you get into that, and now we're going to get into the band subgenre thing all the time. It's but that group that plays together every Sunday, they're part of the Sunday D&D group.
Yep.
But those Sunday D&D people are also part of a bigger way that is the Dungeons and Dragons group.
It's
community, and then
a bigger group of friends that you have.
Yeah, and those people are part of the tabletop community. Those people are part of the PAX Unplugged, which is going on right now community. It's crazy.
It's hard to define.
Forever.
Yeah, it's not anything that can really be nailed down, and I don't see any reason. I mean, I actually change that. I do see a reason why it's beneficial to categorize communities in certain ways.
As human beings,
Yeah.
it's natural. Yeah.
But it's, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with everything. That's
Mhm.
why, like, people get annoyed when we talk about subgenres of bands all the time because it's like it's too much to keep up with. Well, it's like you only really need to pay attention to what you care about.
Yeah.
And the
And
same
it's
thing goes with
useful for
communities.
people who like a certain type of music
Mhm.
and want to find more bands that have that type of music. Same goes with streams. You know, there's different types of communities out there. Just like we were talking about,
Yeah.
bigger, like massive streams
Yeah.
can't really interact with their community so much.
Yeah.
That's maybe what someone's looking for. They're looking for that sort of interaction. They maybe don't really want to talk directly to the streamer,
Yeah.
but they love when chat is hyped and everyone's spamming emotes, and that's what they look for in Twitch. And there's other people who really want that one-on-one interaction with a broadcaster.
There's a big like one of the biggest pieces that comes up from my book, the book that I wrote about streaming and stuff like that. The biggest piece that comes up often in how we talk about it is what I've coined as the roller coaster effect. And that comes from that phenomenon right there, where you have all these people that seek out large streams because they're popular and they have fun with it. Or maybe they don't seek them out, that's just what they fall into. And then they're like, okay, I need some more interaction. So I'm actually going to go seek out smaller streams.
Yeah.
So you have those people right there.
I think that's a large base of people that start watching Twitch. They come on thinking,
They just
you
fall
know,
into a big community.
I'm going to watch, well, not Ninja anymore, but
CohhCarnage or
yeah,
somebody like that.
CohhCarnage, and maybe you're not having that one-on-one interaction with him, and
But
you're
he's really good at trying. At
yeah,
least.
and you're talking to like people in the community though, and they are hyped, chat's flying by, and you're just like jumping into the action. Maybe at some point you realize you want to have more of a level of interaction, and you find someone that's a little more tailored towards your interests.
Yeah, and even within that, like, I'm sure we'll talk about this later, but things like Discord and Twitter become its own thing too, where you start, interacting with smaller versions and smaller subsects and Reddits and subreddits and stuff like that, where it's like you have you take this giant community, you split it off into sections, so at least it's more, I don't know, easy,
digestible.
digestible to be able to bring in. Yeah, it's a big part. But the roller coaster effect was huge because you have these people that start to seek out different types of communities just based on size, and it's why you'll see a lot of streamers who struggle to get over the 150 concurrent viewer mark.
Yes.
Because based on the studies that I've put together, even though they're not like full-on studies, they're pretty obvious how it comes out to be. I'd be willing to say that the hypothesis comes to a thesis pretty quickly, which is that 150 viewer mark consistently. To break that, if you break that, you're pretty much golden for a while. But to break that is extremely difficult because you go up and your viewership goes up and up and up and up, and then people start to see, oh, this community is getting huge. I'm not going to really get the interaction that I'm looking for anymore, and they start to go away. I've been dealing with this for 3 years. But they start to go away, and then your viewership starts to drop, and then you have these people who looked for a more popular streamer who are like, well, this person's viewers dropping, they must be not doing very well, I'm going to give them a break. And then then it's like, oh, then the people that wanted the interaction, they come back. They're like, oh, it looks like the viewership's lower, I have more of a chance to interact with you. Get to be part of that community and a bigger part of that community. And then they go back up, and then they drop again because the same thing happens again. So if you find yourself a break and you're able to like get over that 150 viewer mark, you're pretty much okay.
It's hard.
But yeah, like getting past that point is so difficult. And if you're somebody like me who I'm constantly, no matter how many people are in the chat, I'm always talking to everybody. It's just it's a blessing and a curse because you put so much effort into your community that when it gets to a point where you just can't keep up, people will just leave. And that just happens. It's not really much you can do about that.
I've, as a viewer, experienced that myself, where I really love streams that are highly interactive. That's why I'm on Twitch. And when I've been in streams and they've kind of, moved away from talking to chat so much, whether because they can't keep up with it anymore or they're shifting their focus a little bit, I usually gravitate towards someone else and start watching something else. It's very...
You may not...
I think one thing that I've noticed that keeps those people in is a very active chat, that interacts with each other.
Yeah, which is where moderators come in.
Yes.
Good moderators help chat interact with each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're and you know, it doesn't mean you're a bad moderator if you don't do that. Maybe you're really good because you have a good eye for
Yeah.
what should be allowed in the chat, or you have a good eye for making sure that the streamer has all their proper titles and stuff
Behind
like
the
that.
scenes, you
Yeah.
know, there's people who are really good at tech, gamer tech.
Gamertech, Barry.
Shout out.
Barry's the man.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are wonderful moderators
Mhm.
behind the scenes and really understand how things work and
Do you
help with
moderate
that.
for anybody?
I'm a moderator for him.
Well, she's also a moderator for one of my closest friends, Mr. Nomak.
Yep.
The 2Ks. He's pretty much the best, and the reason that I mean a big reason why Pims has gotten the experience that she has, because you've been
Yep.
in that chat where he's very community focused and he's able to do stuff like that, and you've been a big driver of being able to keep the community together. You know, and being able to draw ties of like, if somebody's new to the channel, but then there's somebody else who like has inside jokes, the moderator comes in and ties that together.
Exactly.
At least makes the new viewer familiar with those inside jokes.
And there's moderators who are not involved in that kind of way, and they're useful in other ways.
Yeah.
But you definitely need to have moderators who are doing that.
Right.
I think that's one of the tools at broadcasters' disposal that they really need to utilize.
Yeah.
If they're looking to form communities.
Audrey,
Oh no.
chat, interact with each other. Audrey's a great mod. She's doing her
She
job.
is.
Yep. She's doing fantastic.
But
Hello, awkward squirrel.
It's very it's important to have some people like that. Those are the people who should be moderators. If you notice people in chat who are talking a lot with other people, not even with you, with other people, that's the kind of person you want to moderate, because they will keep conversations going when you're not able to jump in.
I'd say, well, bringing Gamertech back, he interacts with chat way more than he interacts with me. Like,
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, we interact privately. Like, I'll talk to him privately and talk about notes and stuff like that, and the stream in general. So he doesn't have to we don't have to do that in chat, and he just talks to everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
A well-rounded community means a well-rounded moderator team.
Absolutely. It's an easy tool to really utilize and make work for you. But I don't know if a lot of people really realize how important that is.
Well, it's either, I think people understand it on a very conceptual basis, but I think there's a lot of self-guilt, I think, that goes into there, because I think because of how much we as a teaching community have taught simply your moderators are so important that I think a lot of people, I would like to think a lot of people, I haven't heard a ton of people report this, but I would like to think a lot of people think to themselves, well, if they're so important and I can't pay them or I can't reward them in some way, shape, or form, I just don't have the means to, that they don't want to put too much pressure on them or too much effort into finding people that are really good.
Yeah.
I think there's a guilt there. At least I felt that guilt many times in my career, but it all depends on the communication and being able to, I mean, I get game keys in all the time. I give those away to them. They usually, my mods get first dibs, but at the same time, it's hard to think about it that way, because there's often so many situations where you're just like, damn, you guys are good. All I can say is thank you.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, coming from someone who is completely on that side and not really a streamer myself, like, it's sometimes difficult to find people who are really fit for that role, but a lot of people who have that heart and really want to see the stream succeed, I feel like those are the people that are really fit for that
Help
position.
them feel ownership.
Yeah, and
because I think most of my mod team were there from the beginning, and they all, every single one of them have volunteered. I've never really, I've asked maybe one or two. Most of the people that I do ask usually just go right away. I usually don't see them right after I do that. But for the most part, they're there, and if you help them feel ownership in what you're doing, and you grow, then they feel that growth too.
Absolutely.
And they feel like they're part of
felt that myself.
Yeah.
Like, seeing people that I moderate for really find success in their streams, that's satisfying to me, and that makes me happy. Seeing people in chat having a good time, it's like, that's what drives me as a moderator and as a community manager, is tying people together. So it's finding those people because they're difficult to find sometimes, but
Yeah, and I think most of those will come naturally.
yes.
Based on you just doing your best at being the best streamer you possibly
Yeah,
can.
not something that's really forced.
Yeah, like I was just getting through saying, like the more you force it, the more it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like everybody that I've like not everybody actually. There's still somebody who's very close to our stream. His name's Sagire. He's another Australian because of how late we
Oh
stream.
my God, all the Australians.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I've asked him because he's been around for such a long time and he's done so well, and he's stuck around. But for the most part, the people that I've gone out and be like, you seem like you really know this community. You seem like you really care about it. Would you like to help moderate? Just be part of the team. Honestly, I always pitch it with, hey, can you give Gamertech a break? Because he's usually like the number
Poor
one in everything.
Gamertech.
Like, hey, can you give him a break and they should come in when I'm doing certain things?
He's such a great mod. You know, Nomak modded him.
He's the biggest troll though.
Like just for funsies, not really on
Simmed
purpose.
it too, I believe. Yeah.
And then we were like, oh shit, he's actually a really great
Yeah,
mod.
he's really good.
But yeah, I agree with everything that you said. Pretty much, it's something that should come naturally, and you should really utilize your moderators if possible.
Yeah.
Because they keep the community going when you're not able to.
Keep them in the loop on what you're doing too.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot that I know that I just forget to tell my moderators all the time, where they're like, "Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to do that." It's like, "Oh yeah, because I forgot to tell you."
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think a Figment said something a little bit back. He said
about categorizing.
Yeah, he said, I think defining categories of a community or genres help you branch out with a more safe assumption of the generality of the content.
Yeah, it gives you more familiarity before you dive in, which I totally get. I think, and that's absolutely what it's meant to do. It's what categories are meant to do. I think that we get to a point sometimes where it's just over categorizing. Like, how many times I hear, "Hey, is this just a clone of this?" I'm like,
like, no, it's its own game.
Now I just say yes. Yeah. Is this the new Minecraft? Playing Call of Duty? Yeah, 100%.
I think
Minecraft.
It's easy because people want something to relate it to.
They do.
But it's hard to steer people away from the mindset of, oh, this is just another...
It's patience, too.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of, like, I don't want to sit here for 10 minutes thinking that I'm going to get into something, or at least thinking that, not knowing anything about it, and learn about it when I just came on here to relax.
Yeah.
Which is a big thing, too.
It helps with, like, the general understanding of it. We totally skipped a bunch of stuff, by the way.
I didn't even, so I was looking at
No,
this.
yeah.
I didn't realize it was later. So yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Let's go through the schedule.
The first thing we've been trying to do is like do a little bit of a news section and kind of catch up with what's happening in the world of streaming, content creation, game industry, and
shout out to those at Pearl Harbor yesterday. Not to bring it down, but there was a Navy shooting, unfortunately.
Oh no.
So that just happened like yesterday. We have a few Twitch friends who live at and work at Pearl Harbor. So shout out to them. Hopefully you guys are okay. Seems like everybody is.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but most of you guys are. So just, and that's not the news we're talking about today, but I thought I'd bring it up because I think it's important. So
it is, yeah. But yeah, I think the biggest thing really is the new creator dashboard. That's kind of the only thing people are talking about.
Apparently, yeah, the mod icons are huge on Twitter too.
I love them.
I think they're fine.
I'm definitely biased because I like really bright, obnoxious colors, but I love the mod icons. I think they look really nice and sweet.
I think they're fine. I think somebody brought up recently. There's new partner icons and all kinds of stuff, but I think somebody brought up today as I was just like waking up and stuff like that. They posted all the badges that exist from Twitch first party, and they made a good point, which was none of them really feel too special or individual from each other. And while it's only a small little square, there's probably some room to like play with different things.
Sure.
There's a lot of third-party stuff where you can make your own.
Yeah.
But obviously we want them first-party because that's the biggest thing.
That would be nice.
But yeah, I mean, sorry, not to detract from the Twitch dashboard.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's what everyone's talking about right now. I know, like, I had a lengthy conversation about it last night.
What I don't understand is, so it's been available to pretty much every partner. I don't know about affiliates, but it's been available
has
to,
been.
to try
Yeah.
by everybody.
Yeah.
And now that it's like officially out, nobody said anything.
know.
It's like, well, the whole reason for beta testing is so that you can give feedback.
Exactly.
Which, and I know the person whose brainchild it is that does the whole dashboard and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And we had a long conversation about some cool stuff. There's some good changes on there that I literally suggested. And I think that the way it's made is meant to have everything. I think there was a few comments about if you look at your if you're looking at your dashboard because chat's there because that's how you read chat, you're crazy. And I'm like, well, chat is there because it has to be there. You also don't have to utilize it.
Yeah.
You can move it wherever you want,
Mhm.
obviously, but it's meant so that you can just quickly reference and quickly
I
click
think
buttons. and
the
stuff
whole
like
point
that.
is that it's supposed to be very easy to manipulate for
Yeah, it
what
is.
your purposes are.
Right.
So,
You can customize all the buttons on there.
yeah, I think I definitely understand some of the issues with bugs and
Yeah, bugs are gonna happen.
yeah.
I don't even actually know what the real complaints are. I've just heard that people don't like it. Do you know any real any complaints that
The
have happened?
only like legitimate complaint that I saw, and I don't know if like it was actually like there's another way to do this, but using the Konami code to edit the panels, you can't edit it otherwise, like remove things. But I'm pretty sure
Oh,
you
can just slide them
can.
over.
Yeah, like you can
I mean,
still edit
like
them.
so there's a preview window, there's a preview section, there's a chat section, and then there's all the button section. But I mean, you can minimize it. You can also move the window so that it covers it.
And you
but
can
I-
still move things, and
Yeah.
I mean, it might just be
I get it. It needs
simplifying.
the previous dashboard. You can literally move everything. So
Yeah.
we go from being able to move everything to not being able to move everything, which is a legitimate complaint. I think that moving forward, that if you were to able to at least take stuff off or at least collapse it like you
Mhm.
were in the old dashboard, that would be interesting.
See, I think that's what it does. I'm not 100% sure. I think that's what putting the Konami code in
Oh,
does.
is that what that does?
Yeah, and
Oh.
people are like, why do I have to put in the Konami
Well,
code?
that's the thing. You don't have to. It's
Yeah.
just that's an option.
Yeah. Oh, is it? You don't have to do that?
No, but you can cover it. Like there's other ways to
That's
do it. I'm
true,
just saying
yeah.
that like yes, that would be great to be able to make those sections a little bit more module.
Mm-hmm.
But remember that it's made for anybody to get into it.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of assumption into a lot of things that come out where tech is like you can just do it this way. It's like, well, it's not. That's not perfectly blatant to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You may know this, and that's great. I think that you need to understand that you may be a little bit more advanced, and you're maybe smarter than I don't know or something. But if it comes to little bits and pieces where these all happen, it's voice your complaint.
Yeah.
Voice it in a polite and professional manner.
Yeah, there are real people working on these things.
There's a lot of people working on this. There's one person that's heading the whole thing, so he has to take all of these complaints. But if you yell at these people, just like you yell at the video game developers for doing
that.
something that they just wanted to do because they thought it was a good idea, they're not going to do it.
No.
I wouldn't do anything where everybody's just yelling at me.
Just treat people with like a level of respect. Like
Yeah.
everyone deserves that.
Yeah.
Audrey says, my thought on that, if no one was testing it and didn't want to test it, why change it at all?
Well,
I-
So, what does that mean?
If no one was testing it during beta and no one wanted to test it, why bother changing the UI?
Well, right. If you don't have any, right. If you're in a beta test and you put it out there because you want people to give you feedback and nobody
Mhm.
gives you feedback, then there's nothing. I don't wouldn't know what to do as a developer.
I think it's important to make changes that will be beneficial in the long run, even if people don't really love it to begin with, because it will lead to simplifying things or maybe making it easier for a new creator to come in and just hop right in without.
Yeah, I think that's the most important part.
Yeah.
The most important part is for a new person to come in and be able to understand everything.
Mm-hmm.
If you're somebody who's been around for a long time, it's not that people don't care about you. It's that you have more capability to be able to change stuff around and
Yes.
customize it to what you want.
But you
with-
have to also make that known.
Yeah, you have to be vocal about it. You have to say something about it. But also, is it that big of a deal?
Yeah. It's a little inconvenience, but I feel like if you make, I mean, I don't know, but I feel like if you make your complaints known.
Yeah. You have the right to be annoyed if something doesn't happen.
Absolutely. And usually other people are also finding the same issue,
Yeah.
and usually that will get changed,
Yeah.
especially on something like Twitch where, you know, people utilize the dashboard for their jobs, like that's their business, and it needs to function a certain way for people to use it. And if you're finding that it's not functioning that way, let people know.
Yeah. And you can make, the big thing is you can make all the buttons on the new dashboard whatever they have to offer, and you can have no buttons on the dashboard if you
Yeah.
want to. Like, you can not use the dashboard at all if you don't want to. There's all the reasons, like, there's enough chatbots out there that do it for you. There's enough things that you don't have to touch, but the biggest things, you can put buttons on there that you're going to use the most often, because before it was, if you wanted to run an ad, you had to use the slider,
Yep.
and then if you wanted to change that, you'd use the slider again, where now you just push the button, and you're good to go. Or you see all the stats at the top, and you're like, oh, okay, that's there. Obviously, it's not the same as it was before, but it's not any. It just looks different.
Yeah.
There's nothing else that's different.
I feel like it's an attempt to streamline it a little more so that everything is within your line of sight.
It's just more module.
Yeah.
That's all it is. I mean, exactly what Audrey just said is what I think everybody's going to experience, but there was a gut reaction to just complain about it on Twitter.
Yeah.
So it was basically. I know when I opened it up last night, I was in definite shock, but I got used to it pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's most Twitch features go that way, but for the biggest part is you'll get used to it because it's not really that different.
No.
But then again, I'm not here to defend it all. I just think that I really don't like seeing a bunch of complaints about something that's not a huge deal.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a nice, you know, I understand what they're going for, and I think they did a good job of it. Are there things that probably need fixing? Probably.
Obviously.
But that's with most things, you know.
Yeah.
Things always usually need to get fixed up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, and once you're actually using it, you'll find more things that maybe pop up that need to be streamlined, but
And I think there's a lot of people that sit there and they say, well, I don't want to have to get used to it if I got everything.
You gotta be okay with change.
Well,
the world is gonna keep changing.
At this point, though, you don't even like if I'm sure they're phasing it out, but you can use the old dashboard still.
I don't know if you can.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that was like the deadline. Like now everyone has to use this.
Well, there's a big giant banner at the top of the dashboard for the last 3 or 4 months that says this is what's happening.
Yeah.
So you should say something.
You had
now,
some
essentially.
notice. It wasn't a whole shock that this was coming.
Yeah, I mean, we also can't we can't assume everybody's on Twitch every single day like we are, and I think that it's important to voice your opinion in a polite way.
Absolutely.
I think it's the biggest point. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an update, not a huge nothing was really reworked. I think that's the most important part to talk about. Nothing was reworked. It just looks different.
Yeah, it just changed the way it looks and how, you know, essentially made it easier to see. Although I think some people will argue against that, which is valid.
Yeah. Tastes are important.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, hello, Billy.
Hi, Billy. Billy MF Mays.
Mr. Mays.
Mr. Mays. Billy Mays here.
He is here. I hope you're having a good day, Billy. Yeah, that's really the only news that I can think of that's come up recently.
I think so. I think we've got. I don't know. I feel like I thought of something while we were talking about it, but I totally forgot.
Yeah.
I'll think about it later. Anyway.
Yeah.
What's next?
I can't think of anything else. Yeah, I mean, we could jump back into talking about the community.
I mean, sure, yeah.
Yeah. I think we've kind of established what makes a community, how it's kind of anyone, and any sort of categorization within that. Like, they're all valid communities, and
there's no such thing as an invalid community, really. And I think there's probably a lot of voiced opinions that say, I don't approve of this community, or this community is wrong, or what have you, but there's still important. I mean, you have to look at it with as little bias as you possibly can. to define a community and see what it is. But at the same time, you get to make up your own decisions after whether or not you like that community. And then there's a lot of people that treat it differently.
Yes.
You know? I think
And
it's a big thing.
I think the relationship that broadcasters have with their community is very different depending on the stream. I think that's a good point, though.
On the dashboard, it's the same outrage as everything else. Every new thing happens the same way. What happened to the sub-only stream stuff? Nothing. Nothing.
Is it still around?
Yeah, people can use it if they want
Oh.
to. I mean, you can. That's the thing is, there's always so much assumption that comes out when a new feature gets announced.
Yeah.
And it's like, there are some things where I think they're slightly unclear. Even some of the things that people thought were good ended up not being good because they really didn't look into it too much or didn't pay attention to what it was. Like the whole talking about playing Amazon Prime videos on your stream and stuff like that.
Yeah.
People thought, I could just play it in the background. It's all good. It's like, well, nothing said anything like that.
Yeah.
So you just kind of assumed that, which is not necessarily wrong, but if you then feel hurt by it, that
it didn't turn out that way.
Yeah, it's a problem. I think I don't know. I don't think it's like something that people should be upset about no matter what. But like, if there's somebody that says something out there, and granted, there is a lot of miscommunication for whatever it might be, and those things happen. But read into things. Just like we always say, read your contracts.
Yes.
It goes the same way. You
Please
can't be
do
mad
that.
at something that you just didn't read.
It's true. I think that's something that a lot of people gloss over, is that they haven't really delved into the details of things, or maybe the details aren't really public yet. And
Sometimes details just aren't clear. I get that. I understand that.
And people make assumptions, and it is what it is. Yeah.
It is.
But yes, communities. We kind of covered like what communities are, how they function. How do you really build a community? Because that's difficult.
Yeah, I talk about this a little bit.
And it's a huge topic. It's
Yeah.
not something that's like easily digestible in a short stream.
No, but I think that this is something I bring up a lot. I think it's important. I'm sure you would agree with it. People talk about consistency a lot, and a lot of streamers that their number one most frequent, there's no statistics behind this, so don't quote me here, but this is what I hear the most often, which is, what's your number one tip for new streamers? Well, be consistent, always be on time, and show up at the same time every day. That is important, right? That is important. That is something that people latch onto, and they know when they can catch you and stuff like that. But I think what's even more important that I don't think a lot of people talk about too often is be consistent in your personality, or who you are, or how you treat your community.
Yeah.
If it's, bad, if you treat your community bad, people will know what to expect when they go in there. If you get popular that way and then all of a sudden you start treating people nicely, guarantee people will go,
What's happening?
Who's this? I came in here for the toxic banter.
Yeah.
Now you're being nice to me?
I think it's natural for people to adjust with time, how they interact with people, how they run things. But I think your core should always be there from the beginning. Who you are, how you are with your community overall.
Yeah, definitely the whole, I'm going to be this way. And obviously there's margin of error either way.
Sure.
That's the lack of a better term. But there's margin of error either way. But in the same vein, even if you're having a bad day, at least people still see that core of who you are, like you just said. It's like, I'm going to be somebody who talks with everybody and who chats with everybody, even if that day I'm grumpy and I'm just only talking about the bad things I see or whatever it is. But at least people will understand what that is. And they will, it's a comfort kind of thing for a lot of people. I mean, people don't go to Twitch when they're not, involved in the industry that much to like see a whole bunch of things that have nothing to do with their own entertainment, right? Yeah. So if they're not feeling comfortable with what type of entertainment they're getting, they have no need to be there.
Nope, they'll move on.
Knowing what they're gonna get, and then getting at least a little bit of that, an ounce of that, it goes such a long way, right? And there's obviously going back to it to the point of timing and stuff like that. People do want to see you on time, but remember that not everybody's on right at that time. They don't necessarily go out of their way to be on at that time. They just know when they can expect you.
Yeah. I think it's important to have some sort of like we can look to Sim. I think he's a really good example.
Sim and Nomak, yeah, both
Yeah.
of them.
Sim streams at night,
Mhm.
and he takes different days off,
Mhm.
and he sometimes starts it later in the night and sometimes starts it pretty early.
Yeah.
But you know, he's going to be streaming most nights in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And
European hours.
yeah, and like I know that, and I know when I'll be able to catch him because he does that. He does that consistently, even if he's not starting at like 9 p.m. every single night or isn't streaming like every single day.
Yeah.
I know most of the time if I'm looking to see him, where he's going to be, what time it's going to be.
Right.
And that kind of consistency, it doesn't need to be you need to be on at 6 p.m. every single day, but knowing in general when I'm going to see someone, it's almost like a TV show, like where
Yeah.
I know I'm going to find this for
Well,
the most part.
A lot of the arguments I've heard, which is, you should be on at this time every day, no matter what, because people expect TV shows to show up at the same time every day. We haven't watched a TV show at a specific time
That's
in probably
very
the last
true.
decade and a half.
That's a very good point. I don't know when I've last watched a TV show when it's supposed to
Right.
be on.
Everything's on demand these days.
Yeah.
So as long as they know what they're going to get when they want to get it, I think that's far more important. Because going back to Sim, no matter when he's on, because yeah, he's on at different times all the time, we know we're going to get a Sim.
That's very
we know we're
true.
going to get Simcopter.
Yep.
Simcopter 1 is always Simcopter 1, pretty much
Yeah.
no matter what. So, and he's diverse, obviously, within himself, but he still lives within the Simcopter world.
Yeah.
So we're never going to see a different person, really.
No, you know you're gonna get there, and it's gonna be educational. It's gonna be fun. There's gonna be memes
There's
and
gonna be lots of memes. Yes.
so many, and you're gonna have a good time. No matter what time he's on.
Yeah, yeah, that's the
very
big
true.
thing. That's the huge thing. And you know, people talk about, oh, I don't have my viewership that I have when I start at my normal time because I started 3 hours earlier. It's like, yeah, that like back to timing. It is important, but it's by far no means the most important thing,
No.
in my opinion.
I agree. I think you find a lot of people who don't even stream frequently and are able to carry really good community. You find people who are only active on Twitter who have communities following them and have very active Discords, and maybe they don't even stream
Yeah.
at all these days.
Well, it's just like, go to any huge streamer's stream when you have a good idea when they're going to start, right? Let's say maybe they didn't tweet that day or whatever. The percentage of people that they average in that first like 10, 15 minutes is infinitesimal compared to when they're in like 4 hours in.
Yeah.
So people aren't showing up necessarily
No.
when that's starting anyway. As long as you know, make yourself known and make sure that people do know about it, or at least can find it in some way, shape, or form, whether it's Discord, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, any of that
Yep.
stuff. At least they know it's there, because if they like who you are, they will show up. And
True.
if they understand that you're going to be who you are, they'll come back, and then that's how you start to congregate a community. It's like, oh, I know how this goes, and I know where these people are. And then, when those people want to bring their friends in because of how much they like it, they can easily describe you to their
Yes.
friends.
Yeah.
This is the community that I'm a part of because
That's
they're,
so important
yeah,
too.
they're
You
this, this, and this. right?
Yeah, you have to be able to say, that's happened to me so many times where I'm like, I've been watching this streamer and they're like really sweet, they're really kind, that's why you should watch it, or they're really funny and like you would love the memes that come up in that channel.
What do you think well, this is what I think it is. What do you think the most frequent question a streamer gets in public?
Oh God, I don't know.
Anybody in chat know? There's one question that pops up every time anybody figures out that I'm a Twitch streamer or YouTuber or whatever it is. There's always something that comes up, and I think it's important as
What
much
game
as
do you stream?
Yes, that is the exact question.
Really?
It comes up no matter who it is.
I understand, yeah.
And as much as it annoys the heck out of me, because I'm like,
I play a lot of games.
I play everything. As much as it annoys me that question because it doesn't really define anything, it is important, and it comes up in people's head all the time because, like we go back to before really Twitch was such a huge thing, the game itself is the community for a lot of people.
That's true.
So like, hey, if I stream a bunch of Stardew Valley,
Yeah.
and that's how I define the community, then it's important to tell people that.
Yeah.
For me, I answer the question based on what I've heard that person talk about in the past, because I'm like, there's odds I probably played it at some point. You know, it's like it just doesn't matter like what goes on. It's always the question is, what game do you stream? Because that's all really people think of at the top of their head.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I've definitely looked at people that I watch and I'm like, that's a Stardew Valley streamer. Even if they aren't playing Stardew Valley every single day, that's what pops into my mind when I'm describing them is...
It's also an assumed easy answer.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm going to get a quick answer for that. I'm not going to go up and ask, what kind of streamer are you? Well, first of all, that's hard to answer. Yeah. Or what's your stream like?
Yeah.
It's like asking musicians probably get that a lot. What's your music like? It's like, oh, well, it's a little bit of this, it's a little bit of this, but it's nothing like that, and then it's also like this.
That's very hard to pin down.
So what assumedly is the easy answer is to what game do you stream?
Yeah.
So it is important to think about that. As much as it's a little annoying getting that question all the time. I don't act annoyed because I think
it's a valid question.
A little bit of empathy you put out there, which is important for a lot of communities. Yeah. A little bit of empathy is, what else are they going to ask me that they're going to get a simple answer for? Pretty much nothing. So
it makes sense. It gives them, I think, a little overall view of like what to expect from the stream, which is maybe not always accurate because I feel like regardless of game, you're probably going to get a different experience in different streams.
Yeah.
But you at least know, okay, I really enjoyed this game, and that's what I'm going to be seeing in there.
I think that if I answer that question in public, it's always the game that I'm playing at that moment in time. Like, I played Star Wars Jedi: The Fallen Order for like...
I love that game.
It's very good. For like 2.5 weeks, right? And so if anybody asks me during that window, it's like, oh, this is what I'm playing right now.
Sure.
But I play a little bit of everything. And that's the end of that question, really.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, we may talk about some new stuff, or if the person doesn't know what it is, then I go on to like, hey, have you heard of this? Probably a bigger game that I've played in the past. It's like, oh, I've played that before. We play all kinds of games like that. I'm just a Fortnite fiend. I can't handle it. Third question is, do you know X streamer? I think, for me personally, a lot of people assume that I don't know a lot of these streamers. But I'll be at the gym at like midnight, and I'll hear some people talking over about like Destiny and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
They know I don't stream Destiny because they've been in my stream before. They know I don't stream Destiny, but they're like, I was like, yeah, man, I was watching like King Gothalion the other day.
Oh
and
yeah.
He was doing all this stuff. I go, I'm just sitting there. Sometimes I talk about it, but sometimes I'm just like, they don't know that he's like my friend. Like I know him pretty well, and they're like talking about him like he's a very important dude.
How funny.
Yeah, I was at the gym one night, and they knew who I was, obviously, because I work out with them, and they were like, hey, I heard you on Elohim stream the other day. I was like, you did? It's like, oh yeah, I watch Elohim all the time. He's hilarious. I'm like, yeah, he is. It's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And yeah, people don't really. So I'd say that question doesn't come out as much as you might think. But it's weird because that question should come out to certain people.
Yeah, I feel like that's something a lot of people think, but they don't necessarily ask it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I've gotten asked that before though. Yeah. Someone asked me if I knew Ninja, like.
Yeah, well, Ninja's a different case because he's known outside of the streaming world.
It was a little kid.
Yeah,
it was really cute. It was like a little 10-year-old asked me if I knew Ninja, and I was like, no.
Yeah, but sometimes it's like, you know, I've met him a few times. He's a good dude. He was in the news for reasons recently. Yes. But if it's a little kid and they're like, do you know this person? I'm like, yeah, I've met him a couple times. He's a great, and then I'll try to build him up because you don't want to say anything bad about somebody who somebody idolizes. It's like, yeah, he's great, he's awesome. Like, if you ever get a chance to go to a convention or something like that and get to meet him, you'll have a great time.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But, you know, I don't know him super well, but I'm not going to lie to the kid.
No.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know who he, like, I have never met him, but yeah. Cool
yeah,
dude.
Well, I figured, like, Ninja is definitely somebody who probably comes up a lot outside of work and stuff like that. Just because, he's everywhere. He's been all over the news. He's been over, like, he's been on Family Feud. He's been on everything.
I feel like that's a question I've gotten more than, like, who do you know?
Yeah, I would say
do you
that's
know X streamer? It's mostly just, like, Ninja.
Yeah, definitely.
But, yeah, I think it's important to kind of have, you know, that base as a streamer where people know that they're going to be getting the same sort of content, even if it's different games, you know, the conversations are different. They know what to expect overall, and
So yeah, so
regardless
to
of
that,
time.
like part of building your to wrap all that section up
Yeah.
into a nice little package for anybody that's like wants to show a clip or something like that to like their friends or whatever, or if they're trying to learn a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest tips for growing your broadcast, other than your consistency and your personality or your community, because really that is the same question. How do I grow my broadcast? Well, it's the same exact question as how do I grow my community?
Yes,
because
that is your
it's
broadcast.
essentially the same thing.
Yep.
But one of the biggest things to put into a little package is know how to describe your community, because that you'll use that several times during a single stream.
That's fair.
If anybody joins your channel, follows your channel,
Mhm.
you can describe your community.
Yep.
If anybody raids you, you can describe your community. If anybody asks you on public, you can describe your community. No matter what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
that same description can be used in so many different ways. So if you want to sit at home and just think about it in a short couple sentences, that will go so far.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most important things that you can do as you're trying to grow and trying to grow your stream is learn how to succinctly describe your community,
Mm-hmm.
because it's often more important than just who you are,
That's
because
fair.
even if people don't even bring up the chat, maybe they just watch on their Xbox or maybe
Mhm.
they watch on their phone, they don't see chat or something like that, and they're still watching you, they're probably watching you interacting with your community.
Yeah.
So if they know your community based on your description, they know what you're reacting to, and they
Yep.
know what you're talking about.
That's a very good point. And I think that's something. It's something you experience at every level. Like
Yeah.
even when you're just starting out, if you get rated by someone, you need to be able to say, "This is what my community is, or what I'm like. This is what you're gonna expect
Yeah.
from being here." Just lay down the basics. Like, I really like playing this game. I play a lot of this type of genre. It's a meme fest in here.
Even
like,
at the 10 follower level,
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
like just maybe you don't have a community yet. Really,
But
that's
you know
watching you.
what you are
You can
and
talk
what
about-
you're
yeah,
going to
exactly.
deliver.
You
Yeah.
can talk about the community you want.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we don't really have a big community yet, but this is kind of what I'm looking to build here
Yeah.
on this platform, whatever platform it might be. And that may evolve, and you can always evolve your description, but knowing what you want, or at least an idea of like what you might want,
Yeah.
gets you a starting point.
I think that's a good thing to think about when you're starting out is what are you looking for?
Right.
What are you looking to achieve? If you're looking to, you know, make it into something more than just like a fun little hobby.
Yeah. What community do you want to cultivate even if you don't have one?
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you right now, even if I know my community pretty well, and maybe there's a slight change that I may want to it, I'll describe my community as that little bit of change, you know? Because the more you do that, the more you can, like, obviously you can communicate and tell people, hey, we want to start doing this, you know, we want to start asking good questions to each other,
Sure.
whatever it is, that if they start to hear this is what the person is describing it as, maybe that's what we kind of want to do.
Yeah.
Or maybe we don't like that, and maybe if that changes what people think about what they're part of, that maybe that it still cultivates and creates that community because
Yeah, it shapes it.
yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
No problem.
Because so a big piece, I don't know if you care about shifting topics a tiny bit.
No, yeah, of
A
course.
big piece about building the community is a lot of people will let the community shape them, or
Yes.
at least shape themselves. And on one hand, that's going to happen naturally. Obviously, you're going to have how you react to certain things. Obviously, you have full control over how you react to things, by the way. If you didn't think you did, that's something to think about a little bit more.
Yeah.
But second of all, how the community shapes itself, because you don't have a total control over that, is still somewhat within your grasp. And I think a lot of people tend to not think about it that way.
Yes.
I mean, not to harp on Ninja. It's not like it's not a ninja fighting fest, even though everything I talk about tends to come back to it because he's a very important example.
He is.
And he's very good at what he does. And I think that because of how big he got, it's the easiest thing to tie to.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
I mean, everyone knows.
Everybody
Ninja,
knows what it is.
so
right?
it's easy to talk about
it's
him.
the easiest thing to talk about, definitely. But there's a lot of people who tell me I don't go into Ninja's stream because his community's toxic, and I'll sit there and go, well, okay. so who's the next biggest streamer? Just off the top of your head, who's the next biggest streamer? And quite often, and if they even if they don't say it, but it's usually in their head. It's like Code Carnage, like the next biggest streamer.
Yep.
Go into his community, and it's not nearly
Totally
even
different
close
experience.
to as toxic.
No.
And it's like, why do you think that is? They're not that much different in size. Like Code Carnage is huge. He's giant. Like they're not that different in size. So it's not just size that does that.
No.
And it's not personality because Ninja's not really that toxic of a streamer. It's not like he's
Anymore.
just right. It's not like he's just cultivating that toxicity.
Yeah.
It's because there's care and there's cultivation within that streamer that's making those decisions
Yeah.
of I'm gonna make sure that our mod team is on top of things.
Yes.
If people are talking about this, mod team shuts it down, or at
Yep.
least they educate the chat a little bit.
A mod team's also able to shift conversations.
Oh, big time.
You and the streamer as well. If it's a topic that you don't like and chat's acting a certain way, and this is part. No one just starts stream. Well, I mean maybe some people, but very few people come on to Twitch and start streaming to 10,000 people.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
Right.
You're going to start from the beginning, just
Not
like
anymore.
everyone else.
Maybe used to, but
Yeah.
not anymore.
You're going to start from the same spot that everyone else starts at for the most part, and you're going to have opportunities throughout the entire process to shape it how you want, and your decisions throughout that process will if you ever get to the point of having 10,000 viewers, you shaped that. You helped build that. That's a reflection of what you've built and your decisions along the way.
Right.
And the decisions of your mod team and how you've cultivated that. And everything leads to that. You don't just automatically wake up and have like 50,000 people in chat being terrible people.
It's I think one of the most unique things on a streaming platform is community, because for the most part, and Omid actually put this in my book as part of the forward, which is basically there's no need to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
Right? You're not doing anything that different every stream. Like this is a normal talk show format that we've probably used many times, but also it's been used from other
tons of people
avenues,
do it.
right? It's not that different, but we know it works, so we use it.
Yep.
And then you can utilize all these same things that people do, but how you react in individual little micro expressions or micro conversations to your community, that's the shaping that goes on.
Yes.
That's the most unique thing.
Yes.
The most unique thing you can do on a broadcast is how you respond to the people talking to you.
Absolutely. I agree completely. I think it's entirely up to you and your decisions along the way.
Yeah.
I think Xantax makes a good point. Coach chill, but he doesn't take shit though. That's true.
Well, right, and that's exactly what I was talking about. Like that's the part of the shaping part, because you can be chill, and I'm not gonna name who I'm thinking of at the top of my head, but you can be super chill and still have a toxic broadcast.
Yes.
Because you're not sitting there
'Cause
actually
you're letting it
shaping
happen.
You're letting it happen, exactly. Where code does not let those things happen. There's maybe some, buttheads that come up and say certain things, and he may not ever respond to it. But the thing is, he's also shaped his mod team to at least know what he likes, to where he doesn't have to say anything at this point.
Yep.
And that comes from years of doing this.
I've even noticed streams that are 0 to 100 viewers and they have horribly toxic communities.
I've been raided by some of those. Like 30 viewers reviewed a raid. Dude, come on, dude, this is awesome.
And they're terrible.
And they're just the worst.
And it's because the broadcaster is not actively doing anything about it. It doesn't matter really what size you are. You still have to be active in shaping your own community, whether you're streaming to 10 people or 10,000.
Also, that could be just what they cultivated too.
And maybe they want that.
Yeah, that's
some
exactly
reason.
exactly.
Why would
Maybe
you want that?
that's the attention that they've actually gone after.
Yeah.
And that happens too. It's not so totally unheard. If somebody in chat can be toxic, so can a streamer.
Absolutely.
Right? Like they're all just people.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's a thing. Hi Charlo. Nice to see you.
Charlofin, hello.
My friends. Hello Wabishio.
I like it. Wub wub.
Wub wub.
I like it a lot.
Aw. Yeah, I agree. I think something that we also wanted to kind of get into today was how once you sort of have a base and you have a community that's showing up, how do you keep that momentum going? How do you expand upon that and keep people engaged and bring new faces in.
Obviously, every stream is different, but transparency, I think it comes in here in a big factor.
What do you mean by that?
Because let's say that you have to take some time off, right? It's easy for a streamer who doesn't talk to their community that much and is not open facing towards whatever communication that they might have, and they just go away and nobody really knows why. They may never come back because there's like, okay, I guess they're just gone. But that transparency of, hey, I'm not doing well, I gotta take like a week off.
Sure.
Or, hey guys, I mean, people, it's personal, so obviously it's up to you whether you come out with this, but hey, I gotta have surgery. It's pretty heavy. I might be gone for like a while. Don't think I abandoned you and come through all this. And that doesn't just come from just saying it once or twice on stream. Sometimes that comes from like creating a video about it.
Sure.
Or tweeting about it. Or being able to just sit in your Discord with everybody and say, hey, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen overnight either, but it comes from time of transparency. And it's like, I have a whole channel in my Discord that is just all my updates. It's like what's happening. Nobody responds to it, so nothing gets muddied in it. Like nobody's allowed to respond to it. It's just my updates. It's simply you can totally ignore it, and that's the whole reason I have it there. You're not missing any interactions because nobody's talking in it, so you can ignore the whole thing if you want to. But let's say there's something that's happening. Hey, I haven't seen Dano in a long time. Oh, he actually updated.
You know why.
He updated a week ago that he's changing his schedule a little bit. Maybe that's why I don't see him anymore. But at least I don't feel abandoned because there was something that happened. And I was able to find it. It wasn't just sitting out there where nobody
You're not
could find
completely
it.
lost.
Right.
You have some sort of connection still.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes that comes from creating a chatbot timer. It's like, hey, do you want to stay up to date on what's going on?
That's
Check this
smart.
part of the Discord out.
Yeah.
It's a process, and it's not just saying it once or twice.
Yeah.
It's a real long transparency and communication of keeping up with what's going on.
I think Discord is such a great tool to utilize.
Honestly, it's one of my favorite tools that has ever been released for any type of industry.
It lets not only the broadcaster have, extended interactions with their communities, but it lets the community have extended interactions with each other.
Whatever.
There
could be Discords that you're not, like, as a streamer, you're not involved in this. It's just your community talking to each other.
Yeah, I've done that. I've created side Discords and side conversations with people and communities that I'm in.
One of my, some person that I've known for quite a long time, and I watch him a lot, his name's Northern Lion. He was just against Discord for such a long time. And he didn't realize, well, actually, he did kind of know, but he's like, I want nothing to do with it. There was a whole Northern Lion Discord with thousands of people in it.
Yeah.
And it just was just happening. It's like, then, obviously, he realized that if this many people are using it, we might as well just, get into it and use it. But anybody can create any type of Discord for any type of real thing. Obviously, people make pretty terrible Discords, too.
Yep.
But the fact is, those are communities within itself, even sub-communities, right? There's the Discord Northern Lion community.
Oh, yeah.
That Northern Lion has nothing to do with other than it's the people that watch him. Same with like subreddits and stuff like that. But subreddits kind of they're a little bit disorganized, which is why
different.
Discord is beautiful because you can do whatever the heck you want to it.
Yeah.
You can categorize it however you want. And it's got, full voice service. I'm not shilling and adding for Discord. I'm a Discord partner, so obviously I like it, but there's absolutely nothing I like more.
I think it's just such a good tool for communities to stay connected to each other.
And it's like impossible to miss something.
Yeah,
Twitter, you can miss stuff all the time.
It's great. You can scroll back. It's very easy to keep on top of, even in very active communities, some of which, I've experienced myself. Like, I am definitely in Discords that I want to be active in, and there's just so much stuff happening there. But I'm able to keep on top of it pretty easily. I'm not missing much, and especially if you're a broadcaster, it's like you said, you can make announcements, you can play games with people through Discord, you can easily reach out to your community that way if they're also on Discord. And these days, most people are. If you're
it's so accessible to everything.
Yeah, if you're involved in Twitch, you're probably also on Discord.
Yeah.
Unless you maybe just got into Twitch.
And that's the thing too, is like I was so like logically I knew that it wasn't just like a streaming or a gaming thing.
Yeah.
But I see people out there who are fitness people. They're fitness YouTubers, right? They don't do any gaming, they don't do any, and most of the tools are on there that they don't really use that much, but they're Discord partners.
Oh yeah.
Because they just have workout programs
Yeah.
that they work with everybody.
I'm in like art discords, like
But, like,
completely unrelated
It
to
can be
dis-
used by
to
anybody.
Adrian. She's like, let me into those discords.
But yeah, I mean, that's exactly right at Figment. I have more friends, more of my friends' Discords than I have phone numbers.
Absolutely.
It's just how it goes.
Yeah, and people will branch off from there. I think it's a really good tool to keep people connected, and you don't even necessarily have to be involved yourself.
Oh yeah, I'm not involved in my Discord as a lot of other people.
It's nice. Like me and A Figment, I talk to him all the time. We
Yeah.
met through Nomax community.
Yeah.
We're always talking on Discord. Not because Nomac is there manipulating things and saying like you two need to hang out together, but because I found a friend and now I want to hang out with him.
And that's the beauty of communities in general.
Yeah,
Is
it's wonderful.
you can like people in the community more than you like the person that's the
That's
leader
true.
of the community. Like that happens all the time.
That's very true.
Hi Lee, what's up, dude? But yeah, no, exactly. You're spot on. Like there's so many things that can happen that branch off from communities, and this is why I think emotes are interesting as well for communities.
Sure, yeah.
Which is why whenever we develop a community, whenever we develop an emote, I think more about the fact that it can be used at any place or any moment,
True.
and not just in your stream or
Yeah.
not just an inside joke. Obviously, you still have a couple of those, but if you can use that anywhere, you're more than likely going to use it in somebody else's chat. And if somebody else is like, "Hey, I'm subbed to that guy too," or I'm subbed to Ammunition. I got all those emotes. You see that connection there, and you get to overlap communities that way.
That's very true. That was something I also wanted to talk about is like the overlapping of communities and how important that can be as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we're both active
Yeah.
lounge people.
We know each other because of a whole Twitch team. Yeah.
Yep. I that's my home on Twitch is within the lounge, and you are a member of the lounge, and it's kind of an easy way for us to. I know, the lounge. We're so cash. It's an easy way for people to find similar people that they like.
Yeah.
I mean, I found you through Sim because I was hanging out in his community and I really liked his community. I was like, I'm going to check out this guy that Sim is recommending.
Yeah.
And I loved it, because you guys have similar things in common, and as a viewer, I'm able to go easily into your stream knowing that it's not going to be so radically different.
That itself is a community.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's a larger
Twitch
community.
team is a community within communities, right? No, that's a huge part. I mean, like you can, so Twitch teams develop those Discords for all of that. Like, so one of my favorite reasons for that is like the Late Shift. So Late Shift has a public Discord of there's like 5 or 6 main streamers that are part of that, but then there's other like I'm another streamer that's not part of the Late Shift, but people know me from subsections off of that.
Sure.
And we're all involved in the same Discord.
Yeah.
There's a community Discord, and everybody comes together and everybody can talk about the same things because there's a lot of people speaking the same language, right?
Yes.
And that's important. This is where communication comes into play. People speak the same language within things, and like Daniel, having that, the people that know that are probably only lounge members and OPG staff.
Yeah.
That's probably all it is. So that itself is a word that only people within that larger community speak. Like it's a distinct language. And that itself is the connection between a lot of communities.
Yeah,
right?
it's finding people who are, you have those moments with other people within maybe a larger community, and you go between communities, expand it. I feel like it's such a wonderful way to expand your already existing community is being active in other communities.
Oh, totally.
I don't know how, I've noticed a lot of people don't really utilize that to the extent that they should because they're so focused on their own stream, they're so focused on their own content.
I've been getting worse at that because I just don't have that too much time.
It's difficult, yeah.
It's not like I don't want to because you're right.
Yeah.
It is super important.
I'm the same way right now. Like I don't ever have time to go find new broadcasters and get involved in their communities, but it's such a great way to expand your community.
It's an easy tool to use.
Absolutely. You find people that, especially like near connections where maybe you're not already good friends with them, but you're friends with one of their friends.
Mhm.
You go into their stream, you hang out with them a little bit, and develop a bit more of a relationship there, so it's not just surface level.
Yeah.
And they become involved in yours. It's beneficial to both parties,
Right.
and you're both able to expand communities that way.
Yeah. And I think that there's amplification that comes from that too. I mean, Cletus Buford and I hang out like a lot
He's great.
because our I think our personalities just match super well.
Mhm.
Like it has nothing to do with because there's a lot of that, you know, the word networking gets thrown around in such bad lights lately, but there's so many things where it's like, oh, you're just streaming with this person to leech off their viewers and stuff like that. It's like,
Sure.
no, I want my community to go over there as much as I want want his community to come over to mine,
Mhm.
because that overlapping is not like it's not like doubling the power. It's like quadrupling the power.
It really
It's
is.
exponential at that point
Yeah.
because you have not only the two communities merging, but you have each other growing at the same time, but people over here that already like each other are going to find people over here that they also like,
Mhm.
and then they're just going to go back and forth, and it's just going to be even more fun for everybody.
I think people are so scared of like people stealing their viewers, but that's not really how it happens.
That's a lack of empathy thing in my opinion too, because
Yeah.
if you respect these people as human beings, they're going to make their own decisions no matter what.
Exactly.
You have no control over that.
Things are going to shift and, you know, fluctuate.
Right.
People they may be super involved in a community, and at some point they'll find someone that's a little closer to what they want to be involved in at that time, and they'll gravitate towards that. It's natural, and I think people should really embrace that and find
like I tell my people all the time, like go find other broadcasters.
Well, the other end of it is that people will also be finding you who are coming from other broadcasts. It's not you're losing people, it's people are migrating,
Right.
and some will migrate to your stream and some will migrate away from the stream.
Right.
It's just how it works.
Not to mention that, like,
human nature.
no matter how good you are,
Mm-hmm.
if somebody watches you every single day, they're
They're
gonna
gonna get
They're
bored.
gonna get bored. They're gonna get super bored.
It's natural. I've experienced that myself where I'm like, I just need to do something a little different, and I need to watch something a little different tonight. I want to hang out with someone that I haven't hung out with in a while. Even though I have like my core streams that I watch, I still want to every once in a while go and talk to other people.
Like, you know, my sleep schedule gets messed up quite often. And when I know I'm up earlier than I normally am, I almost always make an effort to go watch Twitch because I'm like, oh, I can go watch people that I don't normally watch.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm super exhausted. I don't want to be up, but like, I could do something with this, which is go hang out with people that I just haven't hung out with in a while and just see them and just have fun with them.
I think it's a great little way to make those connections with other people. Is just you know hopping in every once in a while, saying hi, being supportive. Doesn't have to be anything like huge. A Figment said, I think networking sometimes gets a bad light because people use that as a cover to just toss out their stream and Discord links, because I've heard that as a defense for them doing it. Yeah, I think it all depends on how people approach networking. I don't think networking is necessarily a bad thing.
I mean, like, on one hand, you're like, it's easy to see that as scummy.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, you can usually tell how genuine a person is and how much time they spend with you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if they just throw something at you, it's like you can make all the judgment you want, but in the end, it's like you get to still make your own decision off to what you do with it.
Yeah.
Like any information, no information is bad information.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can just utilize it however you want. But yeah, that's exactly what gives it a bad name, because a lot of people do not like that, and I fully understand that. Because for a long, but in the same vein, this is overcorrecting. A lot of people do this too, in every situation. Parents overcorrect because their parents were bad or whatever it might be, and they end up being bad as well, but because they went too far in the other direction. And this goes the same way. If you see that it's gross that you're seeing all these people shilling all their links out and stuff like that, so you don't do it at all.
Mm-hmm.
That's also not going to do anything
Yes.
for you. It's all like, if people don't like, if they don't have an opinion about you, then what does it matter?
Yeah.
It doesn't. What does it matter? Like, honestly, in a lot of ways, I think people would want to have a scummy opinion of me rather than no opinion of me, because at least they're on your head at some point. But no, you want to try to meet in the middle. You want to, give that out to people that you have come to understand and like and enjoy their company. You want to be part of whoever they are. Or
I've found a lot of times people that you've made some connections with and, built a relationship with, they want to also support you.
Well,
and
that's big too. Yeah.
People want to know what you're doing and they want to be involved in your life. And if you're, not just going into random streams and throwing in a link, then you're making connections and you're establishing a relationship, and people will want to.
For science, I don't even I don't even ban people or time people out for telling others to come to their stream, because I'm just like, I would love to see how many people actually follow through with that. It's got to be less than 1%.
Oh yeah, I don't think anyone does.
Not only do you not understand that that's not really effective, but I kind of want, I still want them to be able to chat to see if they stick around and be like, yo, do you understand what you're doing? Let's talk. Let's chat. Like, what's going on through your head?
Yeah.
That's just me.
Wanting to
nerd,
figure things out, yeah.
To being a big old nerd.
I mean, it is interesting. I can say myself, I've never followed someone from them like dropping a link in chat and saying follow me.
But even
or
then,
I'm streaming right now.
I don't know, like it's just maniacally in my head, I think that if I take that out of the chat room, I'm making sure that the people that are watching me don't even have a choice. Which seems rude to me. I'm like,
okay,
if you want to follow through with that link, like, what am I can't stop you.
Yeah, it's not like you
leave. If you want to leave my channel, leave my channel.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do anything about it. Like, obviously, you don't want to encourage it, like saying, oh, that person dropped a link, I don't know who that is, but I guess
go follow, yeah.
But what's going to happen?
It doesn't really negatively hurt you
I'm just
in
like,
any way.
Whatever. It's cool.
That's fair.
People do often conjugate it to, like, or at least make it equivalent to, or describe it equivalently to somebody coming into a party and say, hey, everybody come to my party. It's like, well, no, it's not really like that, because
it's not. I don't like that. People have used
that person, that's like you invite people to your party, and you like spend money to pay for food and beer and all this stuff. It's like that you're having to get together, and at the same time, if they want to go somewhere else,
they can go somewhere else.
They're not captive in your house, man.
Like, I agree. I think it's an interesting phenomenon where people, I don't really like see an issue with it. I just don't think it's really useful. Like, if you're trying to expand your audience, that's not a good way to go about it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's really like insulting or anything, but that's just me. Billy says, I only network with people so one day they'll invite me to their home to see their pets. That's the only reason I do it. I understand, Billy.
Billy can come over to my house. Yeah, he can come see.
I've never met your pets.
No, you haven't met my pets. No. There's only 2 people who've met my pets in this office.
Aww.
But, that's because my house is a terrible mess and nobody comes over my house.
I feel you.
And I would say that 2 people in this office have met my pets, and that's like the only 2 people that have been to my house. Like, ever since I've been into San Diego. Because, I mean, like, Katie and I are so busy. We just everything's the same as like when we moved in.
I understand.
Yeah, it's so gross.
I was just telling everyone, like, I haven't even been home.
Yeah.
Like, I come home and I go to sleep and then I come back to work.
It's like a hotel room.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
It really is.
If I didn't work at home and if I worked in an office, the amount of time I spend working, I would be home for like 20 minutes awake and then I'd be like in bed. Yeah.
That's how I feel. I'm at home for a little bit, maybe watching some streams, but yeah. Life, being an adult, so fun.
Yeah. Sir Slaw's been to San Diego how many times? He's never been over my house. It's gross, dude. You don't want to come over my house.
It sounds like me and him both need to make a trip over to your house now. Well,
you got like a month and a half.
Okay.
So I won't be there very much longer.
Okay.
So
I just want to meet the pets.
No,
that's all I want.
Pets are awesome.
Also, hi, Sir Slaw.
I don't know who that is. Who's that? Who's Sir Slaw?
I don't know. I've never met him in my life.
He's a knight of some sort.
Yeah. How is he a sir?
He's a Pokemon. He's Sir
Oh,
that's Surfetched. Oh, my bad.
no, Farfetch'd.
No, there's a Surfetch'd now.
There's a Surfetch'd?
And the new one, that's
I'm not caught up with my
there's a
Pokemon.
Surfetch'd. It's Surslaw in bird form.
Aw, I didn't know that. That's really cool.
Yeah. Congrats to Kate. Oh, thank you so much, Charlotte.
Yeah, congrats to
Yeah,
Kate.
so we have many lawyers here around these parts.
Yes.
If anybody needs. Well, I shouldn't say that because most people who say they need a lawyer is probably for something criminal, and these people don't do too many criminal things. So.
Don't do criminal things.
Also, don't do criminal things.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey Figment, I'm sorry, Figment. I'm not caught up on Pokemon. I had to stop playing.
We
so
just
taking
got
over
through
my
the
life.
fact that you were super busy.
Yeah, I found myself spending so much time playing Pokemon, and I was like, I can't do this.
I just like every now and then I like physically carve, not physically, but I actually carve time out of my schedule to play games off stream because if I don't,
Good.
the only games I play are on stream.
Yeah.
And it's like as much as I do play games that I like on stream because, well, that's part of community building. Or part of community building is having fun, but also playing similar games for a while so that people know what they're getting into. Back to the consistency thing. I also want to play like Halo, and I'm not gonna stream Halo. So I got in like before I left to come here. I got in like 3 games of Halo. That's cool. That's enough.
good,
It's
yeah.
like felt great. I got my butt handed to me in Griffball, but still, it was a time that I wasn't gonna spend. So it was cool.
Yeah, I think it's important to carve out that time physically and
Carve it
make
like
sure
a pumpkin.
make sure that you're doing stuff to still live your life. I need to be better at that. I try.
It's hard. It's not easy.
Yeah.
And this gets talked about a lot, and I truly encourage people to not become workaholics when it comes to streaming because it's very easy. Because it's
hard.
It's very easy to tell yourself that if I'm not working, I'm not making money, or if I'm not working, I'm losing community. If I'm not working, I'm not growing. That's not true.
Yeah.
Now, it can look true. There's a lot of things that happen, but I'll tell you right now, if you spend focus and actually like put effort into certain blocks of a day, it will be just as valuable as being distracted working all day long.
Absolutely. I think it's a mentality that was born on Twitch back when that was a little more true, where
we could just stream.
Yeah, just stream
Doesn't matter
as
what you
much
streamed,
as you can.
Agreed.
And I don't think that's true anymore. I don't think that's valid. It's you take some time to yourself and really curate your content. You don't need to just be streaming nonstop in order to get viewers and make money.
In fact, like, I was listening to a couple people talk about this recently. There's a guy named Bear Taffy who's been on YouTube and Twitch for a long time as well. He's like, nobody can be funny for 8 hours a day.
It's hard.
Like, even the funniest of comedians, like, tell them to do an 8-hour broadcast and be funny the whole time.
There's long stretches of time, even in like the funniest streams that I'm in, where nothing.
You're just talking about the game.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you're not even talking about the game. You're just silent. Because 8 hours of being funny, dude, like, suicide rates would go up, and I'm not joking. Like, the pressure you put on yourself to be funny all the time, that's an easy way to drop into depression.
It's horrible.
Trust me, I've been there. It's you get very sad when you're like, okay, I need to be funny the whole time or something's going wrong, and then you like think to yourself, oh, there's like 2 hours where I just didn't do a thing. That's an easy way to hate yourself. It really is.
Yeah. You need to really utilize the time that you have most effectively, and not necessarily in ways that will be making money or bringing in viewers, but in ways that will make you happy, because that will lead to long-term success.
Yeah, and that goes back to like playing the games that you want to play.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's part of like shaping your content and your broadcast is really figuring out what makes you happy and what you can do long-term.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, that's kind of what OPG helps a lot of their clients do, is basically help them not go crazy so that they can do it for as long as they possibly can.
We try. It's just so important, It's something that a lot of people overlook, and then they burn out.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, like, obviously, it's a lot of our names that bring in a lot of the emails that come in, but like, if we didn't have you guys to like actually talk to these people and like make sure that these are sound and spend the time to like focus on who's doing what, most of us probably wouldn't even go through with any of the deals because we'd miss like a million emails, or we wouldn't be able to negotiate, and they would have moved on by then.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just having that time to focus on things and care about what you're doing is incredibly important. And that doesn't mean you need to go out and get a manager. That just means that you need to find ways to not be working at all times and not be
Yes.
stressed out all the time.
Honestly, I feel like an easy sort of solution for that, if you're not really at the point where you're looking for management, is having friends and
Yeah.
you know, someone in your life that you can bounce things off of and that can help you out in some ways. Like if you're building an actual business out of this, you need, you know, to get out of your own mind sometimes and just have someone that can help you see things from a different perspective or
Yeah.
offer some advice. And I think it's good to utilize, I mean, not necessarily like put your friends to work, but you know the
Just having
relationships
somebody to
in your
talk
life.
about.
Yeah.
talk to, yeah, 100%.
It's important.
I mean, my stepdad's pretty interested in the things I do. He knows pretty much nothing about it, but he's interested enough to where he asks the right questions, and that gets my brain going again.
Yeah.
Once we start to talk about things that I may have not thought about
Absolutely.
yet. Yeah, it's just it could be anybody. Just talk to somebody.
Yeah, it's important to have someone like that in your life.
It's easy to suffer from lonesome and being lonely
Yeah.
as a streamer because. Well, you're not like, you know, those are people in a chat. I know for a fact they're real human beings. Well, most of them. I know that they're real human beings, but I'm not seeing their face.
Billy,
I'm not feeling their emotions because I can't see what they're expressing and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So it's not the same, right? And they're reacting to you, and if they really, really like you, you don't know if they're being genuinely like critical of what you're doing or helping you out and helping you be better because they're like, oh, we always love what you do. It's like, that doesn't, like, honestly, like, weirdly, that doesn't help me because I want you to tell me what I'm doing wrong so that I can fix that.
I think that's why it's so important to have someone who is like familiar enough with what you're doing and can help.
Back to having a good mod team.
Yeah, having a good mod team, community manager, someone who really deeply understands what you're doing and what your goals are.
Yeah.
And can help you lead you to the direction that you want to be in. Because sometimes you're in your own head. It happens to everyone.
Sometimes. Try all the time.
Yeah.
It's very easy to do that, for sure.
I mean, that kind of wraps up what we were talking about. If anyone has any questions, we're here for a little bit. We can answer them. If not, that's cool too.
Yeah, and a big thing is like, even your community members can feel lonely because you may be talking to them every now and then, but they're not like, you know, you're not, obviously nothing's getting personal. You should probably never put too many personal things in a chat.
Yeah.
But, you know, and you want to, maybe you find somebody you connect with within that community and you start to DM back and forth.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, this is what's going on. My mom just had surgery. I'm not feeling well about it.
Sure.
Like, I don't need you to just sit there and tell me everything's going to be all right, but just like, you know, chat with me for a little bit
Yeah.
or whatever and just, you know, hang out. Maybe we can play a game together or something
Yeah.
like that.
I think it's easy to kind of make those connections on Twitch. There's so many people that are wanting to reach out and connect. Like if you're looking for friends, like it's a wonderful place to be.
So back in Halo, like Halo and Halo 2, when those first came out, that was like the beginning of the Xbox, right? And people were getting, okay, let's take it back even further. World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
People were meeting each other and getting married. And
Yeah.
and there were people out there going, that's weird, dude. What? You don't even know this person.
I know.
You've never met this person. You're going to go see them for the first time? It's like, no, I know this person more than I even know you. It's probably somebody you met at like work or something like this.
Yeah.
I know this person 10 times more than I know you.
Absolutely.
Because not only do we spend 6 hours raiding together, but we met because we were doing something we both loved, which was playing video games, or more specifically, playing the same video game. Halo 2. I know people that had a Halo-themed wedding because they met during Halo.
That's amazing.
And it's like, that video games are one of the best ways to do that because they have a pre-built community. So you already know what's going on in there. You already know the people there. And it's easier than meeting somebody in a bar, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
Or at least
I
it's
agree.
better, I would say. Like, You go to a bar, you can meet anybody.
I definitely have felt that, being a viewer on Twitch with the communities that I'm in.
Yeah.
Like, some of the people I've met in these communities are my closest friends in
right.
life. Like,
Exactly.
Charlathan, who is in chat, she might be asleep now, but I've traveled
She's in Germany,
around.
right?
She's from Germany. I went to Germany and met her, and
Yeah.
we've traveled around Europe together.
Right.
Like, we all met because we were in Twitch chat
And it's
together.
like your first time meeting, but you already know each other. Like,
Yes,
pretty well.
that was the first time I met her, and we went traveling around Europe.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy, but it's we've have those connections because we're in a community, and we just started hanging out because we had similar interests, just like real life. I hate that term. Like,
Yeah, no, I get
'cause
it.
it's like, this is so much my real life, but it's
Too
funny.
bad there isn't a good dating site for gamers. Well, that's the thing is there's
Not
problems
Twitch.
because there are too many bad people out there that would look for that predatorily, which is why I think that itself, the gaming atmosphere itself, is kind of a dating site because you need to naturally meet these people.
Yeah.
You need to naturally come close to them, not go seeking out dating things, right? So like you get close, it's like, oh, you find out that each other is maybe single and you happen to really like this person. And obviously that it's if you just force it upon things that it gets weird, but if it naturally just comes together, I think that's more effective than anything.
Yeah.
I'm not here to give dating advice. I'm just saying like
I mean, it's like, if you want to make friends, you just, you start hanging out with people, you start making those connections.
I mean, the people you end up the rest of your life with romantically are probably your friends at first anyway, right? So, might as well just hang out with people you like, and
Make
then
friends.
things just happen no matter what.
Yeah. Dating advice with OPG.
Office hours, dating advice. Dun, 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 dun.
That is not something we're doing.
No, not at all. You don't want dating advice from me. I've been the same person for 6 years. It's just.
That's good though.
But I haven't dated in 6 years,
But
so.
it's successful.
I mean, yeah, no, we're this thing. We're best friends.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't know how to go on a first date right now. That would never.
That's
I don't
fair.
plan on doing that, but it's crazy.
Let's do it. No, Omid, we're not doing that. And we're not doing dating advice.
You don't want our dating advice.
No,
I'm telling you.
no. That's not a topic we're gonna. Adria's laughing at us.
Just like find someone and move in, get married, done, easy, no problems.
See, Audrey's an expert.
I mean, Audrey is her and her man are like they met through game. I mean, I think I don't know. They have the same love of gaming. I don't know if they met through gaming, but they have the same love of gaming, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like that is one of the most ultimate ways to bring people together, and that is community in and of itself, is bringing people together.
Yep, she met them online.
There you go. Like, it's anybody who says it's weird just doesn't understand.
No, it's just I agree. It's just real life. Like, it's no different
The
these
whole world's
days.
online at this point. Might as well just plug me in. Just plug me in somewhere.
I know.
Put me in the Matrix. Just put me in the Matrix.
I'm okay
fine
with
that.
this. We had so many topics, talks about the Matrix this week, and I'm very okay with being in the Matrix.
Talking about my husband?
We talked a lot about him this week.
Dude, Keanu's the man.
I know.
He's the man.
But yeah, if anyone has any questions, please let us know. If not, yes, Charlo, I will definitely play Stardew with you more.
Awkward Squirrel's like a Stardew expert too, and she's playing with her friends too. It's like
I love
it's awesome.
Stardew. The new patch is amazing.
1.4
Not patch,
is
the new.
godly. The new update.
Yeah.
It's godly.
It's so good. I love it. I want to play so much more of it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. If there's no more questions, anything.
We'll be heading
then,
out.
Yeah, please.
Can we teach you Stardew? Absolutely.
It's really not hard to pick up.
I would love to teach you Stardew, Audrey.
That'd be a good time.
Yeah, that would be fun. Well, that's the next office hours, me
That
teaching
should be-
Audrey
that
how to
should-
play
it should
Stardew.
be an OPG stream, 100%.
I want this.
100%.
I readily volunteer for this.
It's like, well, okay, who are you gonna marry?
Yep.
We'll figure that out. Right now, in this playthrough, I'm dating Elliot.
I always marry him.
He's
so that's
he's
who I'm
legitimately
going
the only
for
good
again.
guy. So.
Yeah. I love him. I call him Fabio though.
He is Fabio.
Yeah.
Very much so.
He's my fave. But yeah, if you guys don't have any questions, we'll be heading out. Thank you for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for
That's
coming
fun.
by. It was really awesome getting to talk with you.
Me, I don't stop talking.
I love that though. I feel like we had a really great conversation today, and it's something that we both deeply care about is community. So it was nice getting to chat with you.
Yeah, definitely. Pims is a community expert for sure.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Some of the best communities I like hanging out with, not like as a streamer, but just as a person in the community. Pims is very involved with.
Aw.
We brought it up several times. Like Nomak and Sim are like some of the best communities.
Yeah.
In the world. Granted, we all share a lot of bigger community, but still.
It's definitely my passion in life. I just love it. I love being in communities.
Yeah.
It's my thing. But yeah, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks, Charlo. Thanks, Figment.
Bye
That was fun.
guys. Thank you for stopping by. We'll see you next week, I think.
Next week of
Don't
Friday?
quote me. Don't quote me. I believe so.
It's almost.
I think so. Someone will post on Twitter. But yes, thank you. Bye.